I just realized how fun it is to clown Sakusa for once. I don't own anything but the plot. Sakusa thought the worst was over. He's already exposed himself to his entire team and has multiple clips of him circulating of him drunkenly confessing or crying about Atsumu, and he had decided to confess, someday, just not today. That should be the end of it, right? Everyone should back off now that he wasn't going to chicken out. He was going to figure it out eventually, on his own terms, but clearly, nobody was going to let him be. So, Atsumu huh? In front of him was a tall fox-eyed looking man which he has identified to be EJP Ragen's middle blocker, Suna Rintaro. Suna's expression was bored, his tone casual and almost indifferent, yet there was the subtle lilt in his voice that Sakusa didn't miss. Today was the day of the practice match against the EJP Ragens, and the game had just ended with MSBY taking the last set. The court buzzed with movement as players from both teams mingled with handshakes, claps on the back, and scattered laughter. It was the usual post-game chatter. Sakusa was going to stand in the corner and blend into the background so that no one would talk to him, but Suna had went out of his way to approach him. He should have known something was off the moment their eyes met across the court earlier and Suna's lips had curved just slightly. He already has an idea whose fault it is. Was it Hinata who, and Bokuto? Suna interrupts like he knew exactly what Sakusa wanted to ask. They added me to that operation SakuAtsu Series you guys got going on. Of course they did. Sakusa's pretty sure he has never wronged them in any way to deserve this. Maybe they should consider a career change to professional meddlers because clearly, they have too much time on their hands. Please tell me they didn't add anyone else. Well, Komori's there too. At the mention of his cousin's name, Komori suddenly appeared beside Suna as if summoned by magic. He was shooting Kiyumi a pointed look. I'm so hurt I had to find out this way, Kyo. How could you do this to your favorite cousin? Why didn't you tell me? Sakusa sighs. Today was going to be another long day. He just knows it. Because I wasn't going to do anything about it. Wasn't? That's past tense. So, does that mean you are going to do something now? I was going to do things my way, but no one lets me. Your way meaning waiting another day because you're not ready? Well, fuck Matoya because he knows Sakusa too well. He scowls at Matoya, and Matoya simply grins in response because he knows he's right. Which is why, dear cousin, I've made sure you had more helping hands by letting Suna add his and Atsumu's old Inarizuki teammates to the group chat. Sakusa blinked, slowly turning his head toward Suna like he was trying to confirm whether this was true. You're joking. It's true. Great. That's exactly what Sakusa needs. More people meddling in his love life. Yet, he was done. Practice was over, right? No reason to stick around. He's going to head straight back to the hotel. Why the hotel, you ask? Because, naturally, instead of the Ragens coming down to Osaka, MSBY had been the ones roped into hauling themselves all the way to Shizuoka for this joint training session. Shizuoka is where EJP Ragens is based and MSBY is based in Osaka. Komori, as usual, seemed to read Sakusa like an open book, because before Sakusa could even make a move, Komori's arm was already draped over his shoulder, effectively pinning him in place. Not so fast, Kyo. You're coming with us. Sakusa looks at Suna in confusion. What? Why? Suna smiles mischievously. My former teammates are very eager to meet you. Yeah, that definitely didn't sound like a good thing. You can't make me. Maybe not. But Atsumu can. What? Atsumu. Sakusa immediately stiffened as Komori's voice echoed through the gym, loud enough to halt Atsumu mid-sentence from where he'd been laughing with Bokuto. The setter turned toward them, curious. Come over here for a sec. As Atsumu excused himself and started walking toward them, Sakusa's heart rate picked up. He can still remember last night vividly and he has been subconsciously limiting his interaction with Atsumu because of it. Now, though, there was no way around it. What's up, Mori-kun? Could you help me convince Kyo to have lunch with me? It's been a while since we last caught up, but he just wants to hole himself up in the hotel room. Atsumu looked at Sakusa with those eyes of his and he can already feel his resolve crumbling. Omi, ya can't leave Mori-kun hangin'. Go with him, yeah? Then ya can poke some fun at him while you're at it. That's what I do with Samu. Well, if Atsumu puts it that way, how was Sakusa supposed to say no? It was like he knew exactly how to say things in a way that nudged Sakusa just right. Sakusa didn't respond, but the long, weary sigh he let out said enough. He was going to let himself be dragged into whatever Matoya or Suna was planning to do. So, where are ya guys getting lunch? We're thinking of going to your brother's Onigiri-miya branch here in Shizuoka. Getting lunch they say, but in reality they're throwing him straight into the lion's den. Sakusa had no idea whether Atsumu's old teammates were planning to grill him, or if Osamu was. And Osamu? If Osamu even slightly disliked him, Sakusa might as well pack it up and let go of whatever hopes he had with Atsumu. Sakusa opens his mouth to object, to suggest literally anywhere else, but Atsumu beat him to it. I'm actually swinging by there too, after my hair appointment. How about I meet ya there, Omi? We can head back to the hotel together after. Oh, well. Suddenly, he's not so opposed to the idea. Whatever Sakusa feels right now must be apparent somehow because Komori was grinning ear to ear, and Suna had already pulled out his phone, probably recording. Atsumu's smile was like confirmation, as if Sakusa had just agreed without saying a word. Then I'll see ya later, Omi. Atsumu waved goodbye to everyone around him and started to walk away. I'll get going now before I'm late for my appointment. Once Atsumu was out of sight, faint snickers echoed around the gym. Komori nudged Sakusa, chuckling quietly. Well, looks like I just scored you a date. Suna had stopped recording but couldn't hide the amused smile playing at his lips. This is hilarious. You've got it way worse than I thought, Sakusa. I'm definitely sending this to the group chat. And honestly, Sakusa had nothing to say to that. So here he was, sitting in a nigiri-miya, surrounded by Atsumu's former teammates who were sizing him up like a protective dad meeting his daughter's first boyfriend. He wasn't close with any of them and didn't recognize half the faces in the room, but one stare stood out above the rest. Osamu's eyes were locked on him, sharp, unblinking, and so intense that Sakusa felt like it's hard to breathe. So, yeah, like my brother, huh? What's this feeling of deja vu? I do. Sakusa doesn't even hesitate to admit it, which earned him a raised eyebrow from Osamu. Huh, I thought ya would be more embarrassed to admit that. I'm not embarrassed about liking Miya, Sakusa says, wondering why it should even be something to feel embarrassed about. If anything, it was more embarrassing that everyone seemed to already know about his feelings, even though he never said a word. But liking Atsumu? That was just the truth. I mean, it's the truth. Sakusa says it like it's nothing, but he immediately wins over Osamu and the rest of the former Inarizaki team's approval with that one line. Plus everyone probably knows about it anyways, there's no point in hiding it. The mood in the room noticeably lightened. Smiles replaced the earlier stares, and Osamu pulled out his laptop with a grin. Okay, great, because we made PowerPoint slides for you. You made what? PowerPoint slides. You know, to help you with Atsumu. Suna says it slowly, as if Sakusa hadn't already heard the first time. Then, someone Sakusa didn't recognize, tall, easygoing, clearly another one of Atsumu's old teammates, chimed in helpfully. Don't worry, it's only like 3 slides. That's not even the issue here, it was the fact that there were slides at all. Should he be worried that they put this much thought into his love life? Osamu turned the laptop toward Sakusa, eyes gleaming like this was a groundbreaking business pitch. This is a foolproof 3-step plan guaranteed to win Atsumu. With a single, deliberate click, Osamu hits the space bar and slide 1 appears. Step 1, ask for our blessing. It's in black Arial font, white background, 0 design 0 effort. It had the exact aesthetic of a last-minute school project. Sakusa stared at it, unimpressed, then at Osamu, then at the rest of the former Inarizaki team, all huddled around him expectantly. They're actually expecting him to ask. Sakusa opened his mouth, but before he could say anything, Komori cut in. Kyo here thinks it's stupid. Sakusa silently hoped Komori would learn to not expose Sakusa's thoughts out loud before he somehow managed to turn Atsumu's friends against him. Horizontal ellipsis. It is stupid, he does admit. This whole thing had nothing to do with actually impressing Atsumu, but if this was some kind of weird hurdle he needed to jump, he'd play along. Can I have your permission to date Miya? A pause. No. Sakusa actually started plotting Osamu's demise. Why even make me ask if you were just going to say no? He thinks bitterly. Before he could voice his frustration, Osamu burst out laughing. So did the rest of Inarizaki. We're just kidding, Sakusa. We just wanted to try doing that. You've got the green light, Sakusa, but no take-backs. Sakusa swallowed hard, resisting the urge to walk straight out the door. He should have known better. This wasn't about helping him. No, this was entertainment for them. This was the real agenda. At Sakusa's demise, Osamu grins and hit the space bar again. Step 2, practice your confession. The new slide appeared with the same underwhelming design. Below the title, there was one bullet point that simply said, use Atsumu not Miya. Required. Sakusa scowled instantly. Why is that even required? Come on Kyo, you can't call the love of your life by his last name. Atsumu would love it if you did. Okay, let's hear it, Sakusa. Yeah, give us your best shot. I'd rather not. But he was pretty sure they wouldn't let it go until he did. Sighing, he relents. I harbor feelings for you. Atsumu, harbor feelings? Sakusa-kun, are ya from the past? Komori immediately cracked up, nearly choking on laughter. The rest of the Inarizuki team followed suit as well. What's next? Wilt thou be mine? Sakusa didn't even bother responding. He just stared at the ceiling, silently begging for the earth to swallow him whole. Maybe I shouldn't confess after all. No, you can't back out now. How about ya just say I like you like a normal person? Kita tried to keep a straight face, but it was hopeless because his lips twitched, betraying how amused he really was. Even the most serious person at the table couldn't help but laugh at Sakusa's awkward confession. Just great. Fine, he forces out through clenched teeth. I like you, Atsumu. Sakusa says it in the most monotone, unenthusiastic voice imaginable. Everyone is giving him disappointed looks. Sakusa hates it here. 2 out of 10. That was terrible, Kyo. I feel bad for Atsumu. You sound like you're being held at gunpoint. Sakusa let out another sigh, pinching the bridge of his nose. How many sighs had he already let out today? Can we just move on? No, ya have to do it with more feeling before we move on to the last slide. I like you, Atsumu. He repeated it, this time trying, really trying, to inject some emotion, though all he truly felt was despair. See, that wasn't so hard now, was it? Osamu hit the space bar again, advancing the slide. Step 3, confess. Congratulations, you're ready now, Sakusa-kun. Sakusa's pretty sure he's not. In the first place, what the hell was the point of the PowerPoint? There's literally nothing in the slides about how to actually win over Mia. Sakusa looked around the room, expecting anyone to validate his concern. Instead, everyone stared back at him like he was the one missing something obvious. That's because ya don't need to. What? Just confess already. Suna cuts in, casually glancing at his phone. Atsumu's on his way. He should be here any minute now. And right on cue, the door chimed and swung open. Samu, the blonde, stormed in, looking flustered and upset. Look what they did to my hair. They cut it too short. Osamu laughs. Serves ya right, ya scrub. Hey. Sakusa quietly took in Atsumu's new look while the twins were engaging in some sort of physical banter. His hair was noticeably shorter and looked softer somehow. Still, Atsumu pulled it off effortlessly. In fact, Sakusa thinks Atsumu would look good no matter his haircut. Stop being a baby, Atsumu. You look fine. It suits ya well, Atsumu. Different but in a good way. Everyone except Osamu chimed in, trying to reassure Atsumu. Yet, despite their words, Atsumu didn't seem entirely convinced. The blonde turned toward Sakusa, his eyes wide and searching. Do ya think so too, Omi? Sakusa would say it looked good because it did, but he's not going to admit that. It's fine. Atsumu seems to take assurance in Sakusa's words because after that visibly relaxes, running a hand through his shortened hair again with far less frustration. Well, if ya say so, I guess it's not that bad. From behind him, Sakusa can hear faint fake gagging noises which he presumes to be from a few of Atsumu's old teammates. Was Sakusa being obvious or something? I can't bear to watch this. Sakusa, take this scrub away before he steals my food. Excuse me, I came here to visit ya, and ya already did. Now shoo. Osamu's right. It's getting late, so you and Sakusa should head back before your team starts finding you. Guess we'll be heading back as well. What? But I just arrived here. I haven't seen ya guys in a while. We'll have a meal together another time, Atsumu. With Sakusa too. Sakusa knows what they're implying, but he chose to ignore it. He then stands, stepping up beside Atsumu. Let's go, Atsumu. At the mention of his first name, Atsumu froze. His eyes widened, and a faint pink quickly bloomed across his cheeks. Sakusa realizes what he had just done and could feel his own face warming too, despite his best efforts to stay composed. It slipped out. He blames it on that ridiculous practice session. An awkward silence stretched between them until Osamu finally broke it. Get out, ya too. Don't make us watch whatever this is. And that's how Sakusa finds himself shoved outside Onigiri Maya's door alongside Atsumu. Their eyes met again, both still caught in the strange tension of the moment. This time, Atsumu was the one to break the silence, trying to ease the strange mood that had settled after earlier. Sorry about that, Samu's being a jerk. Let's head back yet? Sakusa simply nodded, and they began walking side by side in silence. The earlier moment lingered, unspoken, making their usual ease together feel oddly stiff. Why did he have to say Atsumu's name like that? Sakusa thought, suddenly self-conscious and partly to blame for the weird tension. Atsumu, who normally handled these situations with ease, was unusually quiet. Sakusa wondered if he was bothered by the sudden use of his first name, but then noticed Atsumu repeatedly glancing at reflections emotions as they walked by. It hit him that Atsumu was probably still concerned about his new haircut. "Don't fuss about your hair, Atsumu," Sakusa says, breaking the silence at last. Now that he'd accidentally used Atsumu's first name, he figured he might as well keep going. Normally, Sakusa wouldn't be this forward, but he didn't want the uncomfortable silence to drag on any longer. "It suits you." Atsumu flushes at Sakusa's comment, but he flashes Sakusa with his usual signature confident grin. "Guess that means I'll be getting more fans next season." "Don't let it get to your head, Atsumu." Atsumu laughs softly in response, and Sakusa can tell that the tension was visibly easing between them. Their moment was then interrupted by Sakusa's phone pinging like crazy, to which he chooses to ignore, knowing which group chat was blowing up. It had been going off non-stop the night before too, but he'd muted it for the past 24 hours. Looks like the silence had finally run out. "You're not gonna check that?" "No." Ping. "Ya sure? Sounds urgent." Ping, ping, ping. "Let me just put it on mute." Sakusa quickly pulled out his phone, immediately silencing the notifications for another 24 hours. Still, his eyes caught the most recent message. "Operation SakuAtsu Series. Hope you like your gift, Omi-san." Sakusa has no idea what the hell Hinata is talking about because he didn't receive any gift. But maybe it's for the better because he doesn't want to know. Ignorance is bliss, right? "Don't worry, it's nothing important," Sakusa adds, slipping his phone back into his pocket and gave Atsumu a look of calm indifference, trying to steer things back to normal. The rest of their walk passed with easy banter, the tension from earlier now a distant memory. By the time they reached the hotel lobby, things felt comfortably familiar again. That was, until the receptionist called out to them. "Maya-san, Sakusa-san, correct?" The two athletes nod. "We've received notice that your room has been upgraded." "Upgraded?" "Yes, instead of single rooms, both of you have been moved to a honeymoon suite." Sakusa's mind immediately flashes back to Hinata's message. Fuck. To be continued.